All right, greetings everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning. Got an action-packed webinar for you all. I'm very, very excited with our guests today. We're going to be showing a lot of great information. So let's just get started so that my talking can end and we can get started with the demo. So, Safe Harbor, Salesforce, you know it, you love it. We're going to talk about a lot of amazing technology today. And because we're a publicly traded company, we just ask that any purchasing decisions you make are based on currently available technology and not any of our forward-looking statements. Moving on. Connecting with us. You guys can send us a tweet at Twitter. You can ask questions. Actually, go ahead and type in your questions throughout. We're going to have a lot of time dedicated to your questions at the end of this session. And, that'll give you guys a chance to interact, with our product team here. And then finally, I've gotten a lot of questions about this. Please tell your friends. We are recording this session, and this will be shared out to everybody who has registered. We'll post a link, and you guys will be able to refer back to this. All right, our amazing cast here today. And I will have you know, in order to get this many product guys in one room, they've made sure that my picture was smaller than each of theirs. No egos at all. I actually just thought of a joke. How many engineers does it take to screw in a light bulb? The answer is 1 if you can get on their calendar. So I wanted, without further ado, let me introduce, our great panelists here today. So first we have John, who is our Senior Director of Product Marketing, who will be demoing our Canvas integration. We have Scott Kay, who's going to take you guys through some of the features and benefits of Canvas as well. We have Brooke, who is going to take you through our Slack integration. And we have Brett, who is going to talk about Open CTI. And so, why are we talking about integrations? Why are they important? Well, quite simply, integrations make our customers' lives much easier. And what do we mean by that? Well, we actually mean that we know that you can't be good at everything, and any great product should not strive to be good at everything. We want to be great at customer service, building that process, being that foundation. But as many times our customers tell us, they often have better ways to do things than we could have ever dreamed, right? They are always one step ahead of us in how to use our product and how to model what that product looks like in their day-to-day. And the best way to do that, instead of trying to solve for every single possible problem out there, is just to make a platform or to make an application that is open-ended, that allows Desk to interact with third-party applications, in-house applications, like anything, again, that would help you bring information into the Desk.com agent console to make your lives a lot easier. Obviously, I put some of our most popular integrations up here. You guys can go to the Desk.com App Hub and just find out who those partners are. But at the same time, with our Open API and some of the integrations that you'll see here today, the opportunities to integrate different web-based applications with Desk are becoming just increasing based on the technology. So without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to Brooke to talk about our integration with Slack and why it's awesome. Brooke?
Thank you. So we'll start by looking at the Desk.com integration with Slack. And so for those of you who are not familiar with Slack, let me go through some of the highlights of what Slack is. Slack is a communications platform. It organizes communications. It's very searchable, and it's mobile. It's synced across all of your devices, so you can go from your desktop to your Android device to your iOS and see the information, see the communications just as you would see on any of your other devices. What does Slack allow you to do? I'll show you this in a moment, but Slack allows you to create channels, and these channels can involve teams of people. It can be organized around a project, a topic, one-to-one communication, or even ad hoc meetings. And Slack also integrates with a ton of really valuable business tools. So obviously we have our Desk.com integration. Slack integrates with Dropbox, Google Docs, GitHub, and dozens of other applications. So let's take a quick look. If you would give me the screen. Let's do that. Boom. There you go. All right. So this is the Slack console. And you can see here I've got channels organized around teams or different functional assignments. And this is what this is what my organization uses to communicate across the organization and between our teams to keep everybody aligned on what we're doing. The way the Desk.com Slack integration works is as such. So we go over to the Desk.com admin. You click on the familiar Apps tab. I'm going to scroll down until I find the Slack app. And then I would go through the installation process. It's very easy. Obviously, you have to have a Slack account, and you just click through a few screens and enter some information, and Slack is now connected. And once Slack is connected, you're going to see here on the left side your Slack icon and Slack app installed. And now we want to add an action. I've got an action in here already. I'm going to add a second action. And I'm going to call this, let's do this. Let's post to this group called Sales Team. So this scenario might be that you've got a certain subset of your customers who sales very much wants to follow. It may be a set of customers who are oriented around a particular campaign, who have attended a webinar, who have attended a conference with you, who you've direct mailed. But in whatever case, when communications come in from those customers, it's good to inform the sales team that those communications have happened. So I'm going to name this new action, post to a sales team. The action type is post to Slack. I'm going to use the sales team channel from Slack. If you'll recall, we've got a sales team channel right here, posting to that channel. And then I'm going to say that this is coming from the support team. And then you can see here that you have the option to choose the information you want to send. And what we're going to send, and we'll see this when it goes into Slack, we're going to send the case status, the channel the case is coming from, the customer name, the company, and then put a direct link back to Desk.com by the case URL. Click go, turn this on, and now I've got that Slack action set up. Now I'm going to go over to cases, and here's where the real power of Desk shines. We're going to set up a business rule, and we're going to set this rule up. I'm going to make a very simple rule, but I'm going to call it Slack to sales team. We could pick the channel, but I'm just going to do email right now. And let's set up a condition for this. I'm going to make it an easy one. Generally, I might use something like a label, a VIP label. I might use a customer name, write my top 20 customers, names put in here or something. But I'm just going to say, let's do case subject contains urgent. So when cases come in with the subject urgent, not only will they appear in Desk.com, but they will also shoot a message over to Slack. And then the actions triggered is that we trigger an app action. And then I've got my two app actions here. I'm going to post this one to the sales team. So I click update. Go down here to the bottom, turn it on. So now I've got Slack to sales team turned on. I've got the app installed, the action created, the rule created, and now let's see how this works. So here's my Desk.com universal inbox. I'm going over here where I've already set up a support center, and I'm going to type in urgent. All right. So again, I've got urgent in the subject line, my trigger for the app action. I'm going to send this email, and you'll see in the upper right corner of my screen a Slack notification. There it is. It's already been done. So if I pop over here to Slack, you can see what's happened. You can see that an alert has been sent to the sales team group that I specified. That includes it comes from me, the support team, as I set up. It's got the subject line. It's got a direct case link, so I can go right over to the case. It's got the assignee if it's already been assigned, and it's got the case body in there. Again, a ton of relevant information. And the real beauty of this is that with this kind of information, the sales team knows what to eliminate as noise and what to act on. And if they feel the need to go contact the support team about a particular customer, about a particular case, they can do that very quickly. And in fact, they'll probably do that using Slack. And then again, if I go back over to the universal inbox, of course, you're going to see this case. So that is that's the power of Slack and the power of Desk and the power of using the synergies, I should say, of using these two tools together.
Cool. Thanks, Brooke. You want to kick it back to me? So we're going to move from Brooke to Slack, and now we're going to talk with Brett about Open CTI. And let's just get the screen switched first. Sorry, folks. Here we go. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go.
All right. Thank you, Elvis. Thank you, Brooke. That was incredible. I just want to give a huge shout out to Brooke's team. They did an amazing job with the Slack integration. Just how fast they were able to bring this to market was absolutely incredible. So huge, shout out to Brooke and his team. Great job, guys. But I'd like to turn your attention to another super useful integration, and that's the phone channel. So, I'm not going to cover the benefits of using a phone channel for customer service on this call. I think we all know that phone is super, super important for customer service. It's a very high-touch channel. But what we do want to talk about is the advantages of bringing that phone inside of your agent desktop, right? Bringing the phone into your agent desktop and allowing your agents to access that and not have to go to a different system, right? So if you're using phone, if you're thinking about using the phone, this section is for you. I'm just going to get into, how does integrating that with Desk make your customer service better and ultimately our customers' lives better? So what does this integration look like? Well, it uses a shared technology that Salesforce developed called Open CTI. And what that is it's basically an integration framework that allows third-party telephony providers to embed their technology inside of Desk or inside of Salesforce, right? And so why is that awesome? Well, it really allows those telephony providers to do what they do best, which is provide telephony. And it brings all the great features and functionality that those providers provide, and it brings that inside of Desk, right? And it allows Desk to do what we do best, which is provide a fantastic agent experience and agent console, right? So that's what Open CTI is. It just allows third-party providers, third-party telephony providers specifically, to bring their phones inside of Desk. And I'll do a short demo of this in a minute here. But what are the primary benefits to bringing a phone inside of the agent desktop and not having it in a separate system? Well, one is it eliminates that swivel chair effect. And for those of you who don't know, it's kind of an older term used in customer service where the agent would have to swivel his chair to answer the phone on the right-hand side of his desk, or maybe even swivel to another monitor to answer a call. But we completely eliminate that effect by bringing that phone inside of the agent desktop and allowing your agent to work on the case in the same browser tab. I mean, now the swivel chair effect is probably just switching between browser tabs, but we even eliminate that by allowing you to interact with that phone all from within the agent desktop, right? And the second primary benefit, at least in my mind, is that it really drives agent productivity and happiness, right, by increasing their efficiency. So, for example, screen pop. This is one of the most highly requested features, on any phone integration, right? And what this means, there are two benefits to a screen pop, actually. One is that when a customer calls in, we're going to automatically pop their information to the agent and show the agent that relevant customer and company information, right? Your agent is not going to be asking that person for their name, for their phone number. That's already going to be displayed to the agent, right? So it not only makes your agents more efficient by not having to ask all these questions. It also makes the customer feel happier and feel like, the agent knows them on an intimate level, right? Because they don't have to ask their name. They can already, they've called in. We can already see all of their issues. We know everything about you, right? So that's search and screen pop. A huge, huge feature. Really, really excited about it. Another one is click to dial. And some of you may not be doing outbound dialing, but this feature basically allows any phone field inside of Desk on the customer record, and I'll show this in a minute here, but any phone field is now going to be clickable. And what that means is you can basically click that link, and it's automatically going to perform an outbound dial. And John actually, he's got a lot of experience in call centers. I don't know if you want to touch to how much this actually helps call centers by just being able to click a phone number instead of having to copy and paste it or enter it into a phone.
Yeah, thanks, Brett. I think one of the anecdotes I like to talk about is, again, as Brett said, I've spent a lot of time in call centers. I think he was just calling me old, but basically, when you're walking around a high touch or a high volume contact center floor, and many of you on this webinar right now might run one of those or might manage a team inside of a high volume call center, that shaving seconds off of individual call can equate to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in cost savings throughout the year. So things like screen pop, which reduce the amount of time it takes the agent to bring up relevant customer information, and things like click to dial, which reduce the amount of manual input, which also reduces error, which is another cost driver, are just incredible cost savings through this very simple integration. So can't overstate enough how important it is to integrate your phone into the Desk Agent desktop if you're handling the phone channels.
Thank you, John. That was great. And then finally, one of the great features about Open CTI, it allows us to automatically log relevant call information, right? So while your agent is handling this issue, they may not have the time to take detailed notes or catch how long that call was, right? So we're able to automatically push relevant information, it's called a call disposition, into that case immediately after the call ends, right? So you can do things like push a link to a call recording, or get any routing information that the person had to go through, any IVR, selections they've made or call duration. You can push all of that information automatically into the case without your agents having to manually enter that, which is a huge benefit, right? I mean, your agent shouldn't have to be manually entering all of this stuff. And then finally, something for the admins. I know the admins are saying, well, this, Brett, this all sounds great, but how the hell do you set this up? Well, it's extremely easy to set up, and I'll actually show you this a little bit in the demo here, but it's basically a couple clicks of a mouse button, and you're completely up and running. All of your agents are going to be able to, start taking phone calls inside of Desk. So, with that, I'd like to show you guys a quick demo of this in action. All right. Fantastic. So this is the next generation agent desktop, the same next gen agent desktop that everybody knows and loves. And if you notice here on the top right-hand side of the screen, we now have a little phone icon, which hasn't appeared before, right? So when I click this icon, you can see that I've got a phone within Desk. Amazing, right? But the fun doesn't end there. So on this phone, you can see, well, it's kind of covering the top right-hand side there, but I'm able to detach the phone and move it around my agent desktop, right? I'm even able to minimize the phone and then bring it back up with the click of a button, right? So this phone is completely draggable. You can move it anywhere around, your agent experience. And let's simulate inbound call now. So what I'm going to do, and just, I want you guys to watch on the screen because it happens pretty fast, but I'm going to simulate an inbound call, and I'm simulating this call from someone who's already called in before, and his name is Mr. Elvis Greer, and you're going to see his information pop on the left-hand side of the screen. Right? So when I simulate this inbound call, we're going to pop the relevant information on the top left-hand side of the screen, the relevant contact information. We're also going to pop the relevant company information under that, and we're going to automatically create a new case for you in the middle of the screen. So, and this is all done through our Open CTI framework. So let me simulate that inbound call now. Going to answer the call. And now you see the action that I was talking about before. This person called in. I didn't have to ask who was calling in. I didn't have to ask what his name was, what his phone number was, what his email address was. all that information was automatically popped to the agent with the click of a button. All I had to do was answer the call. You can see we've got his name, title, email, phone, his address, even custom fields about this particular contact, are displayed. We've even got his relevant information from Salesforce, right? Maybe there's more information living in Salesforce, relevant CRM information that we're bringing in to show the agent to make them more efficient, and really to round out that view of the customer. And again, we've even got his company information here, right? So, I can do things like log this amazing call on this amazing webinar. So I can do things like log calls. I can enter in case details, like the description of the case. And as soon as I hang up, more call notes are going to be, pushed to this case. So that's just one of the, amazing features about bringing your phone into your agent desktop, right? Like I said before, we're really driving agent productivity by not having them click all these buttons to create a new case and to search for the contact. And we're making your customers, happier as well, right? They feel like, they're known in your system, right? They're not being asked all these annoying questions over and over again, especially if they've called in before. And then quickly, I will show you guys, something that Mr. Aniano spoke about before, but it's really the click to dial, right? So I don't have to manually enter in 415, all that stuff, right? I can actually, let me go back to that case. I can actually just click on this phone number, and if you watch in the phone on the right-hand side here, it's going to automatically dial that number, right, and create a new case for that customer, right? So again, I'm driving agent productivity by reducing the amount of clicks by, basically an order of magnitude to make an outbound call. So, in conclusion, what I've shown you is, reducing that swivel chair effect by bringing your phone inside of the agent desktop. Your agents don't have to be moving between two systems, as well as, driving their increased efficiency by all of these tools, things like search and screen pop, things like click to dial. I mentioned before, but this is a shared technology. So if you have agents working out of Salesforce, this phone here is going to be the exact same in both Desk and Salesforce. So you don't have to do any retraining on agents if, you have agents moving between Desk and Salesforce. A quick plug for myself. So there is a great Dreamforce presentation that was done in last Dreamforce. So please check that out. It's about basically the advantages of a phone channel and bringing that in Desk. So please check that out if you can. And that's it.
Cool. Thanks, Brett. Let me switch it back here. We're getting ready for the grand canvas finale. What I'll let you guys know is phone relevant. Absolutely. Phone is still one of the most dominant customer service channels out there. And so, again, as you guys think about relevancy or, what do I put my time and resources towards, this is something that's very, very important, very, very serious to consider as your business is growing. And to kind of take a level set here before we get to Canvas, Slack integration currently available on Desk, Open CTI currently available on Desk. Just reach out to the appropriate Desk representative that you speak with, or you can always email support@Desk.com to get more information. But again, it's all about finding the right partner, and then the setup is really as simple as that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand it over to Scott here to talk a little bit about the benefits and what is Canvas. We're very, very, very excited for this release, which is forthcoming. And then we're going to kick it over to John to talk about what Canvas looks like and show you guys a little bit of the demo there. And then we'll take your questions.
Great. Thanks, Elvis. And yeah, just to continue with the plugs, I mean, what Brett and his team have done with Open CTI and what Brooke and his team have done with Slack is pretty fantastic and really enabled Desk to become a powerhouse tool for great many customers. So continuing on that line, there are other integrations that we have in Desk that we aren't speaking about today, and there are other features coming down the road. But there are many cases where the integrations we've provided aren't quite filling all the holes you need filled. And there may be advanced business logic you want to add, and there's nowhere to do it. There might be an integration with a third party that we haven't done yet or that we may not be able to get to in time for you. And there may also be, and this is probably the most significant case, you have internal proprietary systems that have a bunch of information, and you want to bridge that information together with what you have in Desk to better support your customer base. So what we wanted to do is give you a place to write your own code, and we wanted to give you a blank canvas of sorts, which is probably where this name came from. We actually took a name from, we actually took a name from Salesforce. So this is probably a theme you're going to see recurring, but we want to, as much as possible, leverage existing Salesforce technologies so that if you ever get to the point where you're ready to migrate up into Service Cloud or into the Sales Cloud, the code that you've already written, whether it be for Open CTI or whether it be for Canvas, can go with you and can be used simultaneously between Desk and Salesforce, or can be migrated from Desk to Salesforce. So Canvas fits in that bucket as well. So what's pretty amazing, so Canvas at the highest, simplest level is a way to put your own code inside of Desk. It's code that you're going to run, that you're going to write, and it's code that you're going to host somewhere, either on your own server environment or maybe some third-party place like Heroku or AWS. And then you're going to reference that code and pull it into the Desk agent console, the next-gen agent console via an iframe. And when you do that, you're going to be able to display whatever information you want inside of that iframe. You can add user interface, you can add buttons and controls that execute events, often a third-party tool or in your own environment. But what's even more powerful than that is we build a bridge between that iframe and the Desk agent console, the parent frame, so that you can talk to Desk from directly from within that iframe. And when you're talking to the parent frame, you'll have complete access to the entire Desk API. So whether you write some really simple logic that Mr. Aniano is going to demonstrate in a second here, whether you write some really simple logic or you bring in a bunch of stuff from outside, you can bridge it all into Desk, and you can do, for example, some simple logic like read the value of a field in Desk, read the value of some information in your own proprietary system, and make a decision to update a value in Desk and push that update through to the API. And you can host all and run all of that and build all that yourself. So as we show here on the slide, we're fully integrated with Desk. You can do things like add advanced business logic that goes well beyond our rules engine. You can integrate with your own data and systems as third party, and you can customize user interface. For fun, we have a dummy slide of bringing Pac-Man into the agent console, a web version of Pac-Man. If you want to do that, you could. It's probably not the best for agent productivity. So
agent productivity study show.
I bet. So and all of this is in the name of giving your agents the information they need and the tools they need right there on the single screen in the exact same spirit as Open CTI, so they don't have to click away to another screen, so they don't have to click away to another system, and it gives them exactly the right information so they can most effectively and most quickly answer the case to the customer satisfaction. So with that foundation set, I'm going to pass the microphone, and Elvis is going to pass the screen over to Mr. John Aniano. And I also want to give credit really fast. This has been a big team effort, and literally every single person in this room has had a role in this Canvas project at one point or another. I'm just the current steward of it. John and Brett here are the appropriate people to do the demo.
Okay. Thanks, Scott. Again, you've everyone here has done a great job bringing this product to market, and I'm just happy to be able to show it here today to the people on the webinar. So let me jump right in here. I'm going to do a very quick demo. Canvas being an integration framework, really the sky's the limit, and it's really up to your imagination to decide what you'd like to do with this technology. And I'm actually really excited to see what customers end up doing when we put Canvas in their hands. So we're coming back in here to this demo org. Obviously, you're looking at the next-gen agent desktop for Desk.com. We are in our favorite demo company, a company called Aloha Adventures, which is a fake travel agency. And we can see here we have an email case from a customer where that customer is asking for information about bungee jumping in Hawaii. Standard customer service scenario. We see information about the customer, we see information about the interactions, and we see our standard case details fields on the right-hand side. Well, what Canvas does is it allows us to go beyond the standard fields, go beyond the custom fields, and bring in some additional rich information based on code that you write and systems that you integrate with. So if we scroll down here in the case details area, you'll see two Canvas components that we'll demo today. The first is a customer location component. Now this is probably the simplest integration you can imagine. It's a few lines of code that takes the customer information via Canvas and plops that information onto a Google map using the Google Maps API, And again, a few lines of code, you can basically display a custom user experience inside of Desk, this one being a quite simple one, which just plots the customer's address on a Google map. So very simple, but again, the type of thing that you can easily do with the Canvas framework. Below that, we have something that's a little more rich, and this is what's called a suggested knowledge component. This is, again, some custom code. I'd say more than a few lines of code, but something that represents a more rich Canvas integration that communicates with the Desk API and communicates with the case that you're looking at. So what this component does is it takes the Desk.com knowledge base, which out of the box comes in this beautiful interface that has all kinds of features that lets you search and do kinds of cool things like attach the article to the case and copy the article to the clipboard and all that good stuff. But it compresses it down into a simple little component that can be displayed right within the case panel through Canvas. And so what this is using is it's using the Desk API to get the case subject, automatically do a knowledge search on that case subject. So as an agent, I don't even have to type the search terms. They just kind of automatically search for me. And it comes in here and gives me some articles from our Desk knowledge base that I can read. This bungee jumping one is pretty good. There's another one here, it looks like related to bungee jumping, which is skydiving. And so I've got a lot of information here at my fingertips. Now I can, as the agent, if I want to see this article in the Desk knowledge base, I can click a link and go see that article. Or through the power of Canvas, I can actually interact with the case that we're looking at right now. So if I want to take the information from the knowledge base article, for instance, this bungee jumping article, and insert it into the email draft, I can quickly and easily do that with a click of a button. So what we've shown here is creating a custom agent experience using Canvas that communicates with the Desk API to search our knowledge base and also communicates with the Desk API to update and interact with the case in action. So truly, Canvas gives you the ability to create a custom user experience and really drive business logic and drive customized process for your agents. Now these are just two very simple examples. As we continue to roll out Canvas at Desk, we will come to you with many more examples, and we'll showcase some customer examples of things that customers built. Particularly, I love the integrations that Scott was talking about where customers bring their homegrown systems or their internal systems and information about the status of their service or order management information or back office information right in front of the agent inside of Desk through Canvas. So just a couple of examples there to wet your whistle. Obviously, just like everything else in Desk, once you've written the code to do your Canvas integrations, getting those into the agent desktop is very simple. So as you can see here, we've got our case layouts functionality, which allow you to customize the next-gen agent case layouts. And any of the integrations you've built can be dragged and dropped right into the case layout here. As you can see, that location Canvas item and the suggested knowledge Canvas item are right here on my layout. If I wanted to swap the order of those or move one up the layout, I could easily do that with our drag and drop next-gen page layouts engine. So very simple stuff. And one more point, getting those Canvas iframes into your site is very simple as well. We use our existing integration URLs framework. So wherever you're hosting that Canvas code, you just take that URL, you pop it into a integration URL, and then it'll appear in your page layout engine, and then ultimately you can assign it to your agents and bring it right into the desktop.
If you could go back to the page layout screen for just a second, John.
Sure.
I just want to point out to some of you on the webinar, this might actually be new to you. You may not have seen it yet. And we're in the midst of rolling this out to all of our customers right now. So if you don't have this yet, you'll see it within the coming weeks. So this is another exciting, this isn't an integration per se, so it's not part of the webinar today, but this is an exciting new feature that basically brought drag and drop functionality to the arrangement of the case panel. And then you'll have this within a few weeks, and then in the next few months, again, this is all safe harbor, you'll have that same functionality on the customer and company panels. So we're going back to Elvis this time. And thank you, John. That was fantastic. That was really great.
Thank you, John. Awesome. Thanks, guys. All right, guys. So now we're at that point in time where we're going to answer some of your questions, and please continue to write in. We actually have a ton, so I'm going to kind of prioritize to the questions that are actually most relevant to the information that was presented and the questions that can hopefully answer you know, the greatest number of people's questions. So with that being said, let's kick it off. So Brett, this is actually for you. There's been a lot of questions about Open CTI in terms of integrations that are possible, current partners that we currently you know, have relationships with, and kind of the capabilities and, let's say, limitations of CTI. So I'll kind of guide you through those questions, but you can start talking about, so for example, we had one gentleman mention an 8x8 phone integration. Is that possible? What are some of our Open CTI partners, et cetera?
Yeah. So I'll comment a little bit on that. So we do keep an updated list of partners on www.desk.com/partners. So please hit that URL. I'll say it again. It's www.desk.com/partners. You know, we have a list of app partners there, startup partners, consulting partners. So please peruse that at your leisure. You know, that being said, we do have an 8x8 integration that you can purchase today. So you know, happy to touch base with you after the call. You know, please reach out to me or Elvis, and we're more than happy to facilitate the conversation with the customer. So you know, again, go to www.desk.com/partners to check out the updated list of all of our CTI partners, and you know, as well as all of our other partners as well. So.
Awesome. And for those of you that are asking questions that we don't hit on today, I'll let you know that we actually will respond to every single question that was asked today, because there are a lot of great and specific questions. We want you to be heard. So hang tight if we don't get to you today. But another question about CTI, Brett, is so in terms of functionality, so we have a lot of questions. So if you can walk people through maybe a little bit more detailed flow. So a call comes in, we can't answer it. Does the person calling in actually have to leave a message for a case to pop? When is a case created when somebody calls?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And you know, really the answer depends on the partner. And it's something that generally you as a customer will work with the partner to, you know, sort of optimize your flow about what you want to happen, right? So, you know, a lot or all of the functionality in the phone, so things like call routing, I've seen you know, mentions of call routing, you know, all that stuff is going to be taken care of by the telephony provider, right? They're going to set up your IVR, your call trees, and all that stuff is going to, you know, you as the customer will work with the partner to determine the best flow for you, right? So it can be when you answer the call, it can be when you hang up, you know, it's kind of up to you on how you want to set that up.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to further that thought a little bit, I think it's very important to separate what is your telephony functionality, what are you doing to accept calls, what is the call workflow, what is the IVR, what is your voicemail strategy, what are your hours of operations. All of that stuff that relates to the phone channel is handled by the phone provider, and that's a lot of complex, you know, very mission critical quality of service stuff, and we've chosen the partners that do that best. We are not a telephony provider, so the routing wouldn't be handled inside of Desk, and you wouldn't want us to be, because that's not an area of expertise for us. We are not a telephony provider, and we don't try to hack in some phone-based technology that won't meet your needs. So you really get the best of both worlds with Desk and Open CTI. You leave the hard stuff and the complex stuff to the phone provider, but make sure that when we're delivering those calls to the agent and the customer have the best experience possible.
Yep. Cool. Thanks, guys. And so another actually question, a really great question came up, switching gears a little bit around Desk Connect. Great question. So what are the differences between Desk Connect and Canvas, and what's the future of Desk Connect? I will give the layman example, but I'll throw it over to the product guys to kind of talk more. Well, you know, to put it in very simplified terms, Desk Connect is the bi-directional sync between your Desk instance and Salesforce. And so they talk back and forth between one another so that at a very basic level, your service and your sales teams can be completely in sync. Now, Canvas is the same idea, but the capabilities are much larger, right? So it's not just Salesforce, it's almost any web-based application you can think of. So do you guys want to speak a little bit more to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Elvis mentioned it quite well. Desk Connect is specifically a Desk plus Salesforce integration framework, which our customers absolutely love. We have hundreds of customers using it today, and really it provides you with a way to basically share the customers, companies, and cases between Desk and Salesforce seamlessly, and so that they're always in sync. And as Elvis said, Canvas has much more broad coverage. Canvas is a way to bring a user interface level integration into Desk from almost any system in the world, unless maybe you're running some sort of AS400 green screen. You might need some middleware there, but anything that can have a web interface can be surfaced through Canvas. And you know, if you want to use Canvas to deepen any integrations you have with Salesforce or with Force.com App Exchange partners or things like that, you can of course bring in any web-based interface you'd like, maybe something built in Visualforce, maybe a package from another partner that partners with Salesforce. You'd have to wrap it in a Canvas integration, but you could certainly bring that to Desk to kind of further the integration between Desk and any other systems.
Cool, thanks, John. There's actually another really great question about Desk Connect. Someone is, realizing, so when you go from Desk to Salesforce, the sync is near real time, right? But a lot of times coming back from Salesforce to Desk, it can be upwards of a few minutes. So can you talk about that discrepancy, and is there any room for improvement there, or is it just kind of like why that is?
Yeah, well, we continually improve every part of our service, including our integrations, and most certainly we have teams focused on Desk Connect today. So will any of this change in the future? Possibly, and we are always tuning our systems to better serve our customers and deliver a better experience to you. Talking specifically about the functionality that the customer here was asking about, we do everything we can, and we have some pretty complex logic and requirements around keeping your data in sync between Desk and Salesforce. Because of the way that things are structured, it's very easy for us to shoot new messages into Salesforce and make sure that when that data is saved and synced from Desk to Salesforce, we're doing all the right things by your data, and we're making sure that we don't introduce any discrepancies in your data. What we do when we're bringing information from Salesforce back into Desk is we put an intentional delay in there of anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes to make sure that we can reconcile any differences that might have changed on both sides of the data before we bring information from Salesforce into Desk. And this is really not a limitation or a performance limitation. This is a design of the feature to keep your data as safe as possible and to always make sure we have the appropriate reconciled copies. So we may change that timing, but certainly, the reason for the timing is intentional, and it's around keeping your data safe.
Cool, thanks, John. So back to CTI, and we actually have a few questions around Slack, Brooke, so be prepared. But so there's actually a few questions around what I would guess is around multi-channel cases, right? So number one, is it, instead of when you click to dial, is it possible to add that to an existing case rather than create a new case? And if somebody calls in, do you have the ability to email them back?
Yeah, so you absolutely can add it to an existing case. We do have, they're called JavaScript methods, in the Open CTI framework that basically allow the telephony provider to work with you as a customer to decide what use case best fits your needs. So if that's, potentially searching and popping to an existing case, you can absolutely do that, and basically just pop up, a case that was logged, before and pop that up to your agents, or you can create a completely new case. It's completely up to you. And what was the second question?
Yeah, so let's see, multi-channel case. So if somebody calls in, do you have the ability to email them back?
Yeah, so right now in Desk, you do not have the ability to email someone back from a phone case, a case that was originally created via Open CTI. Now that being said, we do have work on the roadmap, again, this is Safe Harbor, to basically allow you to respond to any channel with any channel, right? So, you bring up a great use case, but, one of the number one use cases there is the ability to basically email someone back from a phone case, and that work is on our roadmap to be completed. So, just know that we're working on that. John, do you have any color around that?
Yeah, sure. So I think it's a great question, and I think there's certainly things on our roadmap to make things easier for our customers to achieve these types of use cases. But really today, we have, the sending an email after a phone case is logged is a pretty common use case, and our customers are certainly handling that today. They are creating a new case. A lot of times they're linking those cases, the phone case and the email case. So it's certainly a use case that can be handled. Sometimes, depending on what system you're coming from or the way you've done customer service in the past, it might look a little strange to create a new case. But in Desk, from an agent efficiency perspective or workflow perspective, that's the way we've optimized, and it works for a lot of our customers today.
Yep. Cool. Thanks, guys. And then there's a lot of great questions around CTI. And kind of to just reiterate, so there are a ton of CTI partners, and it's really up to you. And there's also a lot of price points for these CTI partners. So it's really up to you to find the partner that best fits your needs, right? Desk is the portal in which this framework fits. And so you can, take these partners' functionality, import it inside of Desk, and Desk through code and other methods can actually bring in that functionality. But it's really up to the different providers to provide all of these different levels of service. And there are many, many providers. We will keep adding more. But just know that when you see a partner on our website, our level of priority is which partners will serve our customers' needs the best, and then we go out from there, right? So our priority is, based on a lot of feedback and conversations that we have, what are the partners that are going to best serve that, that fast-growing company's needs as they scale, so that they don't have to quickly kick off, right? So these are all going to be partnerships that were, cherry-picked based on what serves our customers' needs best.
Yeah, I would also add, if you are currently working with a telephony provider and you don't see them listed on our partners page, don't worry. I mean, we may already be working with them. They may have some technology that's not listed there on the partners page. So I would say reach out to us. You can reach out through your Desk AE, or you can email the team here on the webinar if you've got any specific questions. And we will let you know if we are already working with that partner. And if we're not, and you, a customer, are working with them, that's really good incentive for us to go out and make sure that they provide an integration. So we're looking for feedback from you as well.
Yep, absolutely. And just to provide a little more color around that as well, I did mention that this was and is a Salesforce technology, and in the Service Cloud there are hundreds and hundreds of CTI providers that have integrations with Salesforce. So because it's the same technology, it makes it very easy for one of those providers to bring that phone inside of Desk. So if you see one, if you're a Salesforce customer, you're using one that doesn't integrate with Desk, along the same lines of what John said, please just reach out to your Desk AE, and we can go ahead and get them on the docket, and they should be able to provide something to you, pretty quick. So.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, and again, you guys are asking a lot of great questions around functionality, and again, that functionality is going to depend mostly on this Open CTI provider. So make sure that you're really vetting the different solutions and find the one that matches your needs the best. So kind of switching gears, Brooke, Slack, a lot of great questions around Slack. Namely, so can you talk a little bit about, number one, is there any cost to set this up? What are the costs involved in setting this up?
Well, there's no cost. There's no cost to set up Slack with Desk in the integration that we have, none at all. Slack has a tiered pricing model. The lowest level is free, and that allows for a whole bunch of capabilities that your organization might use, especially through an evaluation period. And then Slack's pricing is clear on their site. And then again, the integration with Desk is completely free.
Cool. And another question around that was there was an individual that was having to push cases, or having to actually push cases into Slack manually, like copy and pasting. Is there any way to automatically kind of take cases from Desk and push them into Slack, or is that kind of like what you demoed today?
I think that is what we demoed today. There is, each organization, in terms of getting the communication from the support team to, Slack, the Desk Slack integration helps get information from the support team back to the other teams, and organizations can just as easily build their own business processes very often through Slack to communicate back to the support team. So there might be a response to, a customer support room in Slack that the sales team members, if they have particular concerns or questions or want to see more about that case, or want to sit down with a support agent to review case details in deeper detail, they can do that all through Slack.
Great, thank you. A question on Canvas, John and Brett, and Scott. So how does Canvas interact with Salesforce? I know we talked about Desk Connect, but for example, is Canvas like a method where someone can actually bring more objects from Salesforce into Desk and stuff like that?
Sure, yeah. So again, Canvas being a very open framework and being a way for you to bring any customized UI into the Desk Agent desktop can certainly be used to integrate deeper with Salesforce. So for instance, if you have a custom object that hangs off of your case object or your customer object in Salesforce, we allow you to see that information via Desk Connect today, but we may not allow you to interact with that information via Desk Connect today. So if that's mission critical for your business, you could build a Canvas integration that connects to Salesforce via the API, uses the fact that these cases are linked already via Desk Connect to identify the right case in Salesforce, and then both display and interact with custom object records, for instance, that hang off that customer case. So I don't want that to be the only use case you hear, because that really, the sky's the limit, as I said before. You can do whatever you like as long as the system you're connecting with has a decent API, and Salesforce has probably one of the best. So I think any of the use cases you're thinking about can be handled through Canvas.
Awesome, thank you. And so staying on the Canvas train here, and this will be our final question because I know we're getting to the end of the session here. And like I said, if we haven't answered your questions, we will reach back out to you. But again, you can always contact me, Elvis, egreer@salesforce.com, or support@desk.com for more information. So final question here is actually a good one, and it's around kind of like supercharging business roles within Desk. So currently without Canvas, in order to kind of ping agent groups or multiple agents with a case, you have to do it with an external email. Now, if you wanted to just, let's say, alert people internally in Desk only without going to an outside email, would you be able to do that? So can you talk more about how you can get groups and, let's say, admins and agents to work more closely together to share information in better ways with Canvas that maybe isn't currently available with just standard Desk rules? I know that's kind of a complicated case, but maybe if we can generalize and just speak to how can Canvas supercharge business rule limitations that are currently available in Desk.
Yeah, so I think Scott's going to have a great response here, but this sounds like a very specific use case for somebody who wants very specific functionality. Happy to touch base offline via support@desk.com or email us. Sounds like we have somebody trying to work around some specific business process. So let's make sure we handle that question through support. But maybe, Scott K., if you can talk about, maybe on the concept of
yeah. Well, so what I actually heard in the question were two different things, because our business rules processing and then the ability to bring groups of people together to collaborate better aren't exactly the same thing. Like, I don't necessarily see the connection there. So it would be great to do what John just suggested, which is contact us via other channels, and we can dig more deeply into it. But it does bring up a couple of good thoughts. The first one is, again, this is safe harbor because this is later in the year on the roadmap. But we do have a collaboration effort where we are going to be bringing in notifications between agents kind of globally inside the app, so that you can set up, I guess, not business rules, but you can set up properties to notify agents when certain things happen to certain cases, and agents will be able to watch cases, et cetera. So I suspect that might actually be what the user is looking for. As far as Canvas is concerned, when we first launched Canvas, Canvas is going to be really specific to the case that you're looking at the moment you open it. So that Canvas is going to send all of the context to the Canvas developer, to the Canvas code, about this case, this customer, this company, this agent who's logged in and handling this case. And then Canvas will be able to act on all of that. And as we've said a couple times now, bring in information from outside and edit, modify information from outside. So this case where you would use Canvas to notify someone else, the only time Canvas is really going to be able to fire for someone else is when they open a case. So it's probably not the best application for this particular scenario, but we're going to be delivering that particular scenario as a feature, again, safe harbor, later in the current year's roadmap. So hopefully that answers it, but you can follow up with more specific questions via support or by emailing us directly.
Cool. Scott, Brooke, John, Brett, thank you guys very much for your time and your expertise. I hope everyone's a little bit more clear on what integrations means for Desk and how that's going to improve your functionality in your business and your workflow moving into the future. Please follow up with questions. These are all great questions, and this is a very, very important topic for us, and you're going to be seeing a lot more in terms of integrations down the road. But with that being said, thank you all so much for your time, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.